that would be bad. Sorry, I'm getting my screen set up. Aries, helpful suggestion, changed a thing. Okay. Here we go. All right. We're going to lie on our back with our hips maybe 3 to 6 inches from the wall. We want to be as close to the wall as we can get with our hips still on the ground.
Sorry, Sean, my son is logging in.
Oh,
I think. Yes, he's there. He's there. He made it.
okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
I thought I got him. Okay. So we're going to get on our back. And we're going to have our legs up the wall. And when you arrive, you should feel that your hips are firmly on the ground and your feet are resting on the wall pretty evenly. If you feel a really big stretch in your hamstring or your hips are not on the wall, scoot back a little bit further until you have those things going on. And then we're going to reach our arms up above us and let our arms relax wherever they can touch the ground. So if you reach too far, your elbows or your arms will come up wherever they relax. And when you arrive, begin to deepen your breath. When you exhale, drop your belly all the way into your body. And then inhale from that point fully. Try to breathe into your collarbone, your chest, and your belly. And then drop your belly again. And try to breathe just like that for a little while. And we're just going to let our body kind of relax into the corner for a moment. As you're breathing, see if you can comfortably bring your shoulders just a little bit further underneath your body. And relax again. Keep breathing the same way with that full, complete exhale. Oh, there's someone coming in. All right, everyone stay where you are. I'm going to mute everybody really quick. There we go. Okay, from that same position on the wall, begin to reach up the wall slightly with your heels and press your hips down into the floor. That's going to increase the tension on your hamstrings. And then place your elbows on the ground at a 45-degree angle to your body. So not quite as high as your shoulder, but 45 degrees. Wrists are going to point up in the air and press your elbows into the ground. And then relax. Try to exhale as you're pressing your elbows into the ground. And don't really try to control what's happening with your shoulders. Just observe any changes in your back. And then relax as you inhale. Exhaling and pressing firmly for the whole duration of the exhale. Inhaling and relaxing. And we're going to repeat that maybe 10 times. Try to just go at your own pace. Don't worry about it too much. Definitely notice your shoulder blades coming under your body, creating a little bit of extension. Oh, there's someone else coming in. Hold on. Keep going. I have to get a longer mouse. Okay, now take your hands up, interlace your fingers together, and push your palms away from you. Still holding the hips to the ground, gently pushing the heels up slightly. Keep your arms straight and roll your hands back behind your head a little bit. Inhale as you reach. If you feel any pain or discomfort, don't go any further. And as you're exhaling, bring your hands back up over your chest and stop just over your chest. You don't really have to reach much further than that. Keep pressing your elbows straight and inhale and exhale as you bring your arms up and down. And then you can release your hands from each other and let your arms relax. Let's put them out to the side, palms up. Hopefully your thumbs can touch the ground. And then bring your awareness. I'm going to mute everybody just really quick. Okay. Arms are out. We're going to bring our awareness back to our feet and pull our toes down towards our shins. Tighten our knees. And we're going to roll our knees out to the sides and then back to the insides. Trying to keep our legs super stiff and straight and our toes down. And if this is feeling kind of intense for you, like it's too much, you can scoot your hips back from the wall. It should be a little less intense. And we're striving to keep our ankle very still, toes pulled down evenly. Not really worrying too much about the range of motion. If you only get a little bit of motion with your legs straight, that's the good motion that you need. And then make your legs maybe 40, 50% wider. Still straight, toes down. Do the same rotation. Inhale, knees out. Exhale, knees in. And do 3 or 4 more. And then we're going to bring our feet down and together until we can make our feet flat. And we want to scoot away from the wall until we can just barely touch the wall with our fingertips. And then we should be able to put our feet pretty close to our knee height, flat on the wall. Might be a little intense for your hips, but it shouldn't be too bad. This is simulating a deep squat, but your spine's fully supported, so it's safe. We're going to take our strap and we're going to place it over both of our legs. And we're not going to tighten it yet. We're just going to let it rest there. And when you have your strap in place, put your arms above you anywhere they can relax with your palms up and press your big toes into the wall. Now that's your most important thing. So don't let your big toe stop pressing. You're going to press your knees out to the side. Big toe stays to the wall. Go as far as you can until you feel like you can't press your big toe anymore. and then slide your knees in towards each other. Also, big toe staying pressed, and your knees may get kind of close together, they may not. And go back out again. Maybe inhale as your knees come out. Exhale as they come back. If you're getting any little cramps through your arch or your foot, see if you can kind of like keep going and ignore that. What's probably happening is that cramp is trying to move a little bone in your foot into a more optimal position. And if you let it happen, it'll go away. But if it doesn't get to do its work, then that need will stay there and the cramp will wait for you. Okay, that's good. Now we're going to step our feet all the way together. And for the space of about 10 breaths, we're going to hold our knees as close together as we can comfortably. It's going to be a little bit of work. It's probably okay if you feel your hips roll up off the ground. You can scoot back a little bit more to make it less intense. And we're just going to put our hands where they can relax. Knees are together, feet are together. Deep breathing, full exhales. Okay, now bring your awareness back to your strap or your belt, and we're going to tighten it as snugly as we can, bringing our knees hopefully all the way together. And now we can just relax into our strap. We don't have to hold anything tight. We can just let everything go. As you're relaxing, take an opportunity to check in with your breath. Notice your full, complete exhales with your breathing. Okay, now bring your awareness to your feet and turn your heels out, and then turn your toes out. Now your feet are a little bit apart. Notice how your hips feel. If you feel like you can scoot your feet a little bit further apart. Don't make it too intense. And we're going to hang out here in this one final pose before we move on from this sequence. Oh, someone's waiting to get in. Okay, now we're going to untighten our strap. Let our legs relax a little bit. You can leave the strap on, but leave it kind of loose. And we're going to scoot back from the wall even more until our hips are right underneath our knees. So we should have close to a right angle in our knees, at our hips, at our ankles. Our strap is on. We're going to tighten our strap so that about one fist of space is between our knees. And then we're going to give it an extra wrap if you have a strap that has an extra wrap. And it'll make it nice and strong. We're going to put our hands out to the sides with our palms up. We'll touch the back of every finger and both of our thumbs to the ground. We're going to keep that there. And as you exhale, press out on the strap with your knees. Try to keep all your toes on the wall. Relax. As you're exhaling, press. As you're inhaling, relax. And just gently keep all your fingers and all your toes on their surfaces. And we want to press on our strap with this breath for about the space of maybe 15 breaths. We want to do it a bunch of times. This action with our strap on is a really strong movement in the body to balance the pelvis. Because since your legs can't move and they're trapped inside this loop, you're really just pressing against your own hip. And since there's no movement, it tricks your hips into doing the same thing. Many people have hips that do slightly different things, depending on the way we stand or work or sit. Our body is always responding to the way that we're using it. And by taking a little time to manage it and force or trick it into acting symmetrically, that can be very therapeutic and prevent a lot of problems. Oh, there's more people. You should be getting pretty close. Let's work our hips just a little bit more. We're going to keep the press out on our strap. And we're going to draw our heels up from the wall, leaving our toes, pointing our toes, and then dropping both heels to the wall and lifting our toes as high as we can from the wall. Rocking the feet back and forth, keeping a little bit of pressure out on your strap the whole time. Being accepting of any small cramps in our feet or our toes. Okay, let's take a break from that, and we're gonna slip our strap all the way off and set it beside us. And then we're gonna take our pillow or block or roll or whatever it is that you have that is kind of wide. And we're gonna place it right between our knees with our feet in the same place they were before. We'll put our hands above us where they can relax. Keeping your big toes engaged to the wall, press your knees in on your pillow block object. As you inhale, relax. Exhaling and pressing, full exhale, strong press. Inhale, relax. If you're finding that it's kind of intense, feel free to take a small little scoot back, and that might help. And we want to do this one for a very similar amount of times as we did our strap. Don't forget to keep your toes pressed to the wall. Don't forget to exhale all the way. Probably have 4 or 5 more. And then let's take our pillow from our knees and set it beside us. And then what we're going to do is cross our right ankle onto our left thigh. And now if you feel like you did that and your hips became out of position, see if you can put them in a place where they're touching the ground in the same way. And if you can't, try scooting back a tiny bit more than you already have. You should feel your ankle firmly on your thigh. You should feel both hips firmly on the ground. You may have a small arch in your back. That's okay, as long as it's comfortable. Keeping your hips on the ground, press your upper knee, the sideways one, towards the wall a little bit, using your hip, and kind of hold it there. And then put your hands wherever they're comfortable. Focus on your right foot. You're going to do a big foot circle. You want to use your toes as much as you can. Try and watch your toes. Watch them curl around the bottom and spread around the top. I work at a chiropractor's clinic a couple days a week, and I've been doing foot circles with my patients. Call them whines with my patients. And a lot of them can't move their toes like at all. It's really sad. They never even think about their feet. Try to work for every degree of rotation, every angle of that circle. Work for a little bit more. And then switch directions. Check in with your hips, make sure they're still on the ground in the same way. You should feel it kind of like above your tailbone. And now point and curl your toes as much as you can, and then pull them back towards your knee as much as you can. And then we're going to unbind our right ankle and put our right foot back on the wall. Make sure your feet are pretty even if you can. And then we're going to place our left ankle on our right knee. Now, if you had to scoot back a lot for the other side, you may not have to scoot back as far for this side. So kind of measure it when you get there and notice what's going on. For me personally, it feels like maybe my left hip's a lot tighter today. I'm not going to scoot back though. Hips are on the ground the same way. The sideways knee is pressing towards the wall a little bit. And we're going to begin our foot circles, pointing our toes around the bottom, spreading them around the top. Try to do it with a lot of force. Imagine you are pushing through some incredibly dense liquid with your foot or something. And then switch directions. And now point and spread your toes, pulling them towards your knee, pointing them as much as you can. And then we'll unbind our left ankle, placing our foot back on the wall. And then we'll do a little challenge real quick. This one's a little bit tougher. It's good for you though. We're gonna exhale and draw our knees in towards our chest a little bit. And then we're gonna inhale and push our heels up as high as we can, pulling our toes down. Knees come into the chest, feet go back to the wall. 2 separate steps. Don't bring your knees down and put your feet back at the same time. Let's do it again 4 or 5 times. Your own breath, your own pace. Be thorough. Okay. All right, let's get off the wall. We're gonna scoot all the way back. I'm gonna turn sideways. And let's actually come to our hands and our knees. Take your time. We were there for a while. A lot of stuff probably moved around. When you do come to your hands and knees, find a square spot for your hands and your knees, nice rectangle. And then tilt your hips down to tuck your hips under you and follow that into your upper back and then tuck your chin. And take a deep breath right there. And then untuck your hips, stick out your butt, drop your belly, push your chest forwards, and then lift your head up. Take a deep breath right there. And let's do that very methodical cat-cow a few more times, tucking the hips under, bringing that into the upper back, and then tucking the chin. Untucking the hips, dropping the belly, pushing the chest forwards, lifting the head. Deep breath. Okay, now bring your awareness to your arms. Make sure they're super straight, so straight. And you're going to turn your elbows out to the side a little bit, and then in, and maybe directly at your legs. Try to keep your shoulder blades kind of together, neutral position in the neck. Don't stop breathing. And even if you only have a small amount of motion with your elbows straight, that's perfectly fine. Whatever you have, elbows straight, hands flat, is great. Okay. And then I'm going to have us tilt your hips up, kind of like we were just working on, and sit your hips back about halfway. And then we're going to walk our hands forwards. And if you need a pad for your knees, definitely put a pad under your knees. We're going to keep tension in our palms. Arms are straight. Our belly should be touching our thighs, and we're going to take very deep breaths into the space where our belly and our thighs are touching. And then use your hands to kind of pull yourself forwards, maybe propping yourself on your elbows at first, and then come back up to that all fours position. Now we're going to try something fun. We're going to do a little wrist mobility work. Let's see if we can turn our wrist either sideways or backwards. If you want to put your hands backwards and you feel like you can't do it out in front of you, if you put your hands much closer to your knees, it's a little bit easier. Sideways, perfectly fine. Any angle other than straight is going to stretch your wrists a little bit. So you figure out what works for you. We have our wrist switched up position, and then we're just going to rock ourselves in some very small little circles. We don't want to push ourselves through any pain. We just want to feel a little bit of stretching through the forearms and the wrists. I look at my hands during the day a lot of times, and I'm like, wow, my hands are like claws, because all the muscles that we're stretching here are just so tight all the time holding things, especially my phone or my steering wheel. And if you feel comfortable, you can make your circles bigger and focus a little bit more on a direction that feels useful to you. Okay, let's turn our hands back the regular way now. And then we're going to take our pillow or our block that we had earlier, and we're going to take it and put it between our feet and hold it with our feet. Make sure you get it, because we're going to lay in a really funny position, and then it's going to be really hard to fix if you don't have it there. So it's between our feet, and then we're going to take it and lay on our belly. We're going to put our hands under our forehead, still holding our pillow block. We're going to make our knees a little extra wide. And hopefully it's touching the whole inside of your foot. If it's not, that's okay. Squeeze as much of the inside of your foot from your big toe to your ankle, to your heel, as you can, keeping your hips pressed to the ground. And then relax. You should feel this happening in your glutes or your butt. I was doing therapy on a guy today, and he didn't know what his glutes were. And I was like, it's your butt. Trying to be professional. If you're feeling your back tighten up a little bit, make sure you press your hips to the ground very, very firmly to prevent your back from being involved. If you're feeling it mostly in your hamstrings, make sure you're also pressing with your big toe. Press for the whole exhale. Relax for the whole inhale. And we spend a lot of time working on our glutes in our Brioga class, so we're going to do this for the space of probably 20 breaths. Okay, let's let our legs relax. And we're just going to lay flat for a minute. See if you can turn your big toes into each other. Heels are resting out to the side. And just take some deep breaths. All right, now keep your hips pressed to the ground, similar to the way we just did. You're going to bring your awareness to your right leg, and you're going to slowly bend that leg, keeping your hip pressed to the ground. If you notice your back tighten up or your hip lift, you have to straighten your leg again. Look for that threshold, and then straighten your leg, let it relax all the way, and then do it again. Every time you bend your leg, you're looking for that same threshold. It will move. Okay, let's let our right leg relax. We're going to work on our left leg. Your left leg will probably be different, so try not to give it any of the same expectations you had for the right. Keeping your hip pressed down, looking for the threshold of compensation every time you move. Okay, let's do it one more time on each leg, but we'll just do 5 this time. It should be a little easier this round. 5 super good ones. Following your breath, finding the threshold with intense focus. Oh. And then we'll go to our other leg. I focus so much, I got a huge cramp. Oh, this side too. Okay, that's good. And then we're gonna bring our elbows underneath us and kind of prop ourselves up. Make our palms flat, elbows under the shoulders. Kind of bring your shoulder blades together and take this as a little opportunity to kind of stretch your neck. You can look up, down, side to side. Be gentle and patient. And then we're gonna roll onto our right side. Yeah. I want you guys to have your knees matched up and your hips at a right angle and your hands out in front of you like this. You're gonna bend the bottom hand so that it's at a right angle. And then you're gonna take your top hand and you're gonna open it up, keeping your knees together the same way, and you're gonna look at that other hand. It may not touch the ground, that's okay. Try to keep touching the ground with all the fingers of the right hand as you breathe very deeply. And then we're going to bring our arm back over our body slowly, matching our elbows together and resting for a second. And then we're going to roll over onto our other side. We're going to do the same thing. So bring our knees up, our hands out, bend our elbow on the bottom, and then reach over the top and look behind. Take really deep breaths. Touch all the fingers of the left hand to the floor. And then bring your arm back over your body, matching up your elbows and resting for a second. And then we're going to roll onto our back. We're going to have our knees bent. We're going to do another twist. We're going to do the sort of a similar position we did on the wall where we bind our ankle and our hip. We're going to turn our palms down. And we're going to roll our whole lower body over to the left until our left foot is flat on the ground. And then we're going to press the toes of our right. Sorry, I got mixed up. We're turning to the left. Our right foot's on the ground. All of our toes on our right foot press to the ground. Right knee presses away. Look to your right and reach with your thumbs. Try to flatten your palm to the ground. And just take really deep breaths. I'm having the most intense cramp in my foot and my hip. But I'm just going to hang on tight. Okay, relax your hands, relax your head, and roll your hips back to the center. We're going to unbind our right foot, bind our left ankle onto our right knee. Try to feel that your right foot is lined up with your right hip, and then roll your legs over to the right till your left foot is flat on the ground. Press all the toes down, press the left knee away, turn your palms down to the ground, and look to your left. And then relax your hands, relax your head, and turn your hips back to the center. Unbind your left ankle and make your feet really wide, like extra wide. Knees are still bent. Hands are out to the side, palms up. Very lazily roll your legs over to the left, both of them. Allow them to settle. And then carefully roll your hips back up to the top, being as lazy as you can. And then very lazily rolling them over to the opposite side. And letting them settle. And we're just going to go back and forth at your own pace for a moment. Try to exhale into your twist. Inhale back up to the top. Next time you come up to the top, stop. And we're going to put the bottoms of our feet together. We're going to take our arms up and together, pressing our palms together, tightening our elbows. inhaling and drawing our arms behind us as far as we can go with our elbows straight. If you have to bend your elbows, you have to go back. And then wherever you went, come back and do it again. Always stopping directly over the chest, and then whenever your elbows bend. Okay, and then we're going to let our arms relax. We're going to lengthen out our legs, separating our feet just a little wider than normal, and letting our toes rest out to the sides. Put one hand under your lower back so you can feel the little muscles that go along your spine as they go into your glutes. And put one hand on your belly. And then out of your stillness, try and squeeze your glutes without any of the muscles near either of your hands tightening up. You can only squeeze your glutes and then relax. Try to hold the contraction for 2 or 3 seconds and then relax. If you're noticing like, wow, my back and or stomach are really tightening up a lot when I squeeze my glutes, try to squeeze your glutes just the tiniest little amount, looking for the threshold each time where your back or your stomach feels like it's going to come in, and then not actually going that far. And by following that principle, you can encourage the glute more and more and make it work by itself in a matter of minutes. Our glutes are super important for us because, they're very big postural muscles, but they also help us walk. And when we sit on them for more than 20 minutes, they kind of turn off and just turn into cushions. And then when we get up, they're not ready to go. So our back and our hamstrings and sometimes parts of our core will work instead of our glutes, which is okay for a while or sometimes, but eventually it causes problems. It causes inflammation. The muscles get very tight and restrained because they anticipate continuing to do that extra work. And by taking a little time to work on your threshold and defeat that pattern, that sloth pattern, then you can prevent back pain and back problems and have healthy glutes that work well. Basically, all of my work at the chiropractic clinic is just helping people squeeze their butts. You might have noticed at the beginning that one was coming on or letting go a little faster than the other. Now they should be a lot more similar. And if you feel like you got it down, you can take your hands out. And you're more than welcome to squeeze your glutes all the way through our little shavasana. Or you can just relax and be with yourself. And we'll just be with ourselves for a couple minutes. Okay, so start to move the smallest parts of your body. Wiggle your fingers and your toes and maybe your ears and your nose. And then wiggle some larger parts of your body like your wrist or your neck or your ankles, maybe your knees. And then start moving bigger and bigger parts of your body, doing anything you feel like you need to do before you get up and come into a seated position.